Yeah.
Welcome, everybody, to the second virtual Spoken Word Club showcase, and hopefully the last one. We'll be going live again next year, but you're in for a treat. I'm Peter Kahn. I'm one of the sponsors of the Spoken Word Club. This is...
Hello, this is Christian Robinson, also a co-sponsor of the Spoken Word Club.
Hey everybody, this is Noelle Berry here, one of the assistants for the Spoken Word Club.
Hi, I'm Van Harris, and I'm also an assistant of the Spoken Word Club.
And I am the other assistant of the Spoken Word.
Patrick's in a windstorm, apparently. Anyway, welcome. You're in for a treat. So pre-COVID, we would be in the little theater in a packed house of about 400 people. And we're going to give you a little taste of what that was like, both for the performers and for the audience, so that we can kind of coach you how to be a great audience.
We're gonna go back to the first warm-up because y'all was feeling that, and then we're gonna play up, okay? You guys remember the first warm-up? Hey, there you go. So we're gonna do that 3 times, but I want y'all to be hype, like lit, like turnt, right? You guys remember it, right? Yeah. You guys remember it, right? Yeah. Yep. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, go!
Whether the weather is cold, whether the weather is hot, whether the weather, no matter the weather, whether you like it or not, whether the weather is cold, whether the weather is hot, whether the weather, no matter the weather, whether you like it or not, whether the weather is cold, whether the weather is hot, whether the weather, no matter the weather, whether you like it or not.
Guys, have an awesome showcase!
If I made a movie about a preacher's daughter, she won't be caught in the church closet shaking shells or standing in the front row with the cover cloth on her thighs, hiding the thick, stopping the too short skirt. I'ma write a scene where she can lay hands on Miss Ma'am that speaks on her hips. She'll let herself be mad at church. She tells the mother her jaws are too stiff to smile. She doesn't. Past the kids be the baddest ones on every member's tongue. For a personal statement in the Sunday program to tell them the bishop's wife is in the same struggle as the drug dealer's girlfriend. The first family's health is last in the announcements. Why does the congregation act like preachers' kids can't cry too? Didn't Jesus weep on the cross?
So thanks to Jarrett Frazier and Mr. Robinson for putting that together. So that gives you a sense of what it was like before, after a showcase, and during, and all the techniques we can use during a live showcase, and how much energy the audience gives us. So we've tried to replicate that as best as possible with this program, this app called Thick Stitch. And Mr. Robinson is going to talk you through how to be as engaged as possible as an audience in this virtual world.
All right. So we saw in that video how hype these showcases can be in real life, in person. So to make up for that, since we are in this virtual space, we're going to utilize the chat to be as energetic and as positive as possible for these poets. So real quick, can we get everybody that is here and in the chat to type the word SNAP into the chat, please? We're going to do a little chat check. There it is. And even as I'm speaking, there are snaps coming in. Feel free to do that, y'all. Everybody here is able to just put in the word SNAP, put in some words of encouragement if you want to, while poets are presenting, while the poems are being presented. And then we also have a link to the master script that we're gonna get into the chat as well. And shout out to our stage crew who is quote unquote backstage helping us out. So go ahead and click on that link for the master chat. I see that we still have snaps coming in, but if you can catch that link for the master script, that would be great. So it would be kind of like reading the lyrics to an album while you listen to the album. You know, we didn't use professional equipment to record some of this, so it would be nice to have the words up on the screen while you are watching the performances.
And just before we go on to Act One, we're really proud of this year's group, particularly the captains who helped us make massive improvements from the first showcase, which was great as is. So thanks again to everybody in the club for all your flexibility and insights. So now, Noelle.
All right, so for Act One, we have our captains, Mr. Jalen Sharp, Lauren Edwards, Abby Govea, Rachel Armstrong, Calais Clark, Alyssa Waite, and Sophia Weedlock.
Me and Grandma in the theater, 2008. We watched the Hulk. I will never forget this day. Back when Iron Man and Batman coming out in the summer. This movie started a life of honoring movie genre. In 2010, we watching the second Iron Man, 11, Thor drop. That movie was kind of mid. Me and Grandma watching on YouTube, becoming new Spider-Man. 2012, we see Avengers, and seeing the Spider movie was amazing. Was not my favorite. I kept on re-looping. People that hated, I loved it, cause them websites were awesome. Had me thinking I could make them, and so I really started. But the biggest of them all, truly insane. Saw it a day early. I was in the end game. Me and Grandma witnessed time go through a decade with such quickness. Crazy thing, I grew up thinking I could be superhero. Grandma did it all, was my road dog since I was 0. So when I lose my hope, thinking all else is lost, Grandma dead like Jedi Hawk, cause she's my superstar.
In 2019, we throw a party in my empty basement.
Packed like Lollapalooza.
Music blaring with the fear of our neighbors calling the police. Sounds of Trippie Redd, Nicki, Cardi, Kendrick, like our own teen nightclub. We had one industrial fan, a couch in the middle of the room, one large
ion party rocker speaker,
and about 60 nameless bodies. Music so loud that when the bass dropped, like Pop Smoke said, it would shake the room. We had singers,
rappers, athletes all together.
A fusion partying under one hot roof. By the end of the night, we had a select group of VIPs sleep over and wake up to the smell of waffles, bacon, and eggs.
In 2020, we had an empty basement.
I could see old medical masks and rubber gloves when I passed by. It's cold and dry like this year's winter.
I used to save the bugs in my pool, scoop them up in my wrinkleless hands, let the water run out from under them. The crickets' weightless bodies took all my strength to carry, swimming to the pool's sandpaper edges. Releasing them on the wet concrete, I prayed they'd hop to the grass.
They always dove back into the water,
not caring I had saved them. I used to save fire ants from dying,
cradling their heat in my palms. When they touched my skin, they bit me.
But I never let them go. It didn't matter, my veins were filled with poison. I needed them to stay alive. I didn't care she stained my hands red. I couldn't stop diving in, too thirsty for what I didn't have.
My ex bought a strawberry milkshake to share at Brookfield Zoo. She's lactose intolerant. We spent half the time flustered pink with flamingos pointing at polar bears in sweaty palm heat. The rest was spent by the bathroom. At a football game, we got food poisoning, giggling, wheeled hands on bitter tiles, cuddled to distract from curdled colons. Is sickness just stomach acid digesting love, a human condition wheeling us to a shared hospital cot? Without fat-coated cookies and flat, fizzy drinks, we didn't last. If chugging rancid milk seems stronger than Pepto-Bismol in neutralizing an aching chest, will I ever find lactose-free love, or
will one of us always have stomach pain? My grandma carried a knife with her, like a mother carries Kleenex. Plucked clovers from the pockets of the sidewalk and tucked it in her purse. She would later hand it out to us as gum.
My three cousins, 2 siblings, and I, scattered by her side
like chicks, squeezed together on the sidewalk
so no one
had to walk on the grass.
The dinosaur park,
as we trademarked it, was our sanctuary.
We played as long as our small lungs could sustain.
My grandma,
a plump picnic basket,
took out her knife and prepared us dripping melon, berries, and sour baby apples she kindly picked from Ainsley Street. The sunlight beamed off her glasses
and glazed her face with you.
We arrived at sunset and left
with the moonlight wrapped around our shoulders. Our family cruise was my surreal happiness, when summers were water-written lemonades and that to the of my run. I trusted the wave,
relied on the boat,
never cringing at the depth, till huge bodies became tempted to swallow me whole with no intent to return. A little me consumed by the seashells, now by a wave, by the of the ocean. I stared back at an endless sea that gagged my cries.
Scraped at long legs in hopes they pull me out.
It felt like forever, but they did. I no longer indulge in the tough sand that rips at the soles of my feet. I've now developed a healthy phobia of living too free. Death tends to cling at the end of all my second-guessed decisions. Yet the terror of new trauma anchors me endlessly.
Morning dew drips down blades of grass like water slides, the cousin to the sweat dripping down my face from the sun. Today,
my world is set to bake at
100 degrees Fahrenheit. Already, I see neighbors setting up for socially distanced barbecues, unlit sparklers
together like fists,
waiting to explode into stars. Before the sun takes her lunch break, I already hear the sound of colors rupturing the sky. Fireworks, fires working their way up until they burst into mandalas of white, red, and blue, hues that mimic the sirens that never rang for a man with tarnished fame. I sit down at the same fire pit I sat at last week, when the
firecrackers
sounded much more like
bullet wounds and left somersaults off my tongue into the air.
Funny how an Independence
I neither feel free nor brave.
Land of the damned, home of the persecuted.
I was alone in my room. The rainstorm outside
mimicking my grandparents' mini rainforest.
A chuva mais alta do que os sons das nossas vidas. It was lavando nossas almas.
Washing our souls.
I stepped toward the window,
bathing somewhere between nightmares and dreams.
A neutral existence.
Destroying and creating.
And something in between. I sit and watch the conflicted piece. Minha avó said, if I could fly above the clouds, I'd let go to fall with the rain.
Catch the updraft like a bird.
I would fly like minha mãe.
Through a plummeting sea.
The wind dragging the air from my lips.
The force holding me weightless.
I can't see anyone as I fling my arms open.
No one
can hear my joyful howls. A gritaria da queda, watching the clouds as
everything becomes nothing.
I am the raindrops plus something more.
I've been caught in an
I'm
allure.
an unstable creature of balance, dropping back down to earth. I'd be on top of the world.
Last year, when everything was normal, I was a good student. And
this year, we're different.
This year, everyone looks like surgeons with casual clothes on.
And this year also brought new challenges, new levels in the game known as remote learning. And one of the boss levels
Distractions.
At home, I sit at my desk.
With the computer in front of me,
I see the teacher teaching the lesson,
I am
but I'm tempted by the PlayStation.
It is like
It is
the
like
Looks like this
PlayStation
PlayStation is Satan, disguised as a snake, tempting me to touch the controller.
Try to resist, but I get up from my chair, go to the system. I look at it, the apple of temptation, and when I take a bite, complete playing time.
I struggle between paying attention to the teacher and taking notes.
Or I turn on the PS4 and join the party my friends are in.
I feel like my brain is getting stretched out
by the computer and the system.
This has 2 lanes, and I must pick one to follow.
The grass seeped into our toes as water splashed from person to person.
Children's screams packed the air as excitement rushed to the forefront. Birthday cake and melted ice cream
slather across the tables.
Maliciously opening presents while unwrapping dangling objects that kill the show.
The classic Hits 200 play in the speaker.
Within seconds, a group of 13-year-old girls screaming the lyrics to Call Me Maybe floated there.
Leaving bittersweet digital memories to a new chapter of my life, where dinner parties and candlelight surprises.
And the day that comes once a year.
We heard was the laughter of kids piling into the movie theater. My friends and I went to see Avengers Infinity War as a group.
We all were in food and drinks.
As you waited, you could hear the sounds of popcorn machines whirring and the soda gushing out.
It was like watching Niagara Falls.
In the theater,
we were all lined up in a row talking. Once the movie started, along with the rest of the crowd, we were louder than a baseball stadium.
When Spider-Man started fading away like a morning sunrise,
the audience was swimming in the Pacific Ocean with the amount of tears that were shed.
Shop in boys sections to find clothes that actually fit.
Now
shopping in men's is a question of identity over comfort. Preferred pronouns avoid tight clothing.
Leaving me hoping brown tones
neutralize the blush of my cheek.
Next pants on sale at Walgreens.
Materialize my gender identity, creating confusion to why
I can find my gender expression in clothing labels.
Could I explore gender fluidity or color spectrum?
Erasing favorite colors
with gender expectations.
I've learned to mold pink into
feminine, masculine,
and all forms in between.
Eradicating stereotypes
that held my identity
captive to colors and clothing labels.
People tend to forget how depression affects your memory. I recollected bits of middle school just fine.
I remember the desire to be alone, like a branch pulled off a tree, falling from the highest point.
A group of boys laughed when I spoke in class. The nickname stuck like wax on hair.
And hurt like the wax was stripped.
Whenever I see a picture of myself from middle school, I don't have a face.
I need to look in the mirror to prove that I'm not a sap.
I photosynthesize with music. You can't find me without headphones. Without them, I am a tree stripped of its bark. I've been skinned of protection. I think of my bullies and forget the successful strength residing within myself. Suddenly, I'm back at the beginning.
Walking in a crowded hallway where everyone I see forgets that I'm not the floor. My feet trot towards the mirror,
but my body never leaves the bed.
Teeth tattooed red are pulled from my gums with my retainer.
No pain, just confusion. My trope is sent back to those long nights in tiny bathrooms.
Blood spills on the tile as we shave and chip away at our skin until the whites of our bones can be seen.
My scars heal before we are shoved on stage.
The audience laughs with gaping mouths.
We see our bruised bodies in their glassy pupils. Myself among them.
Feel the gore slipping through the runs in my tights.
I hear nothing but throaty laughs.
Sugar-coated with spit.
I smell the sweet aroma of BO and drugstore hairspray.
Once blinded by the piercing light.
I return to my bed.
Wet with salty sweat.
I breathe, knowing that place is far behind me.
When I was in 4th grade, I had the privilege of getting neurofeedback treatment for my ADHD. Solutions to my problems came naturally.
Like a friend's unwilling appreciation.
But after leaving the building, I noticed people sitting on the ground with cardboard boxes. Most were as silent as the feeling of comfort, yet they looked like mice
in a lab waiting for their bitter end.
One man was begging.
Please help me. 80 cent counts.
I looked toward my mother, questioning her intent.
Last time I checked, I saw a $50 bill in her
pocket.
I comprehended. We walked by the man without a thought in our mind.
America has always been a doctor saving its patients.
But seeing the man, I caught a glimpse of
America's true form.
When I'm 11, I meet a girl whose hair waltzes in loose curls down her back. We go exploring in the woods behind my grandmother's house, and her shoes teach me what poor means.
I don't tell her that.
I don't tell her that I never thought of the price of my shoes. I just let my sparkly heels fade into the mud and reach for her hand. One day, the forceful grin filling her cheeks asks if I want to start a forest fire. Her feverish brown eyes evaporate me. The squish of muddy shoes brings me back to earth. No, I tell her. I can tell my answer rains on her. Now her house is upgraded.
And her neighbors have picket fences.
Gentrification is a new word.
But I chew it in my mouth.
Until it's able to go down easy.
She left with no goodbye.
Just laughter and a sigh of brown hands reaching for each other in a forest. Where's Angelica? I ask.
She gone.
I reigned that day.
All right. Give it up for all of our poets in Act 1.
Oh, yeah. So we cannot do what we do without a lot of people helping us out. I want to point out that this is Dr. Pruitt Adams' final showcase as our superintendent. We have a whole bunch of people who support us along the way. A special thanks to Teslin Sadowski. None of this is possible right now without her expertise and hard work, along with Chris Schultens, her student workers, Sam and Patrick. We have super supporters throughout the years, Suzanne Allen, Ginger Brent, and Tom Fillion, Nick Childs, Steve Jackson, Jamal James, Naomi Hilder, Paul Noble, Mary Jo Schulter, and Catherine Gargiulo. We got inspiration from Roger Robinson, Malika Booker from England, Adrian Matika, Dorianne Lux, Tanaya Winder, who you're going to get to hear later, and Enua Ellams. And then we got to do workshops along the way this semester with poets Sandra Beasley, Avan and Jordan, Christian Campbell, and Kava Akbar. And upcoming, we've got Patricia Smith and Carmen Jimenez Smith.
Yep, and we also want to thank Tori Stewart and the Stewart and Polk family and all the alumni who are here tonight. And again, we want to thank Ms. Johnson, Ms. Angie Sakalaris, Ms. Gallagher, Ms. McGinnis, and all the members of the English division for your support of our work. Honestly, y'all, without the institutional support that the spoken word program has, it's a very unique level of support. Without it, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. So thank you all. And a very special thank you to the families of our spoken word members. If you are a family member of a spoken word poet, can you go ahead and type the word family into the chat, please? Indeed, there we are. Without all of your support and flexibility, particularly with this year, this show would never be possible. And that's for sure. So I think we are ready to go to Act 2, are we not? Let's do it.
Hi, I'm going to go ahead and announce the captains for Act 2. So we have Kyla Perellis, Abby Mullen, and Juliana Sosa.
Our stifled laughter administers this testing room. This confined corner cubicalizes our lips to get quiet.
Our phones and mouths
tick to silence.
The end of the period
means they all buzz.
Joey's jokes tap me on the shoulder
and tell me to ask for the hall pass.
His giggle nudges a request for restroom relief.
Fingers spider leg.
This plastic seat edge.
Nails alert me.
Something bubblicious just happened. My face's indication says, I need your hoodie, Joey.
Did you just pee your pants?
I just
peed my pants.
You can find me in the zoo's highest building.
The fearsome aura of the predators vanish as I step into this safari habitat.
The smell of hay, the crunches I hear as giraffes move around.
I know I'm safe. It feels tranquil to be here.
A tall room with a brown bench humans share with these peaceful animals.
I stare, examining.
The giraffes' movements.
In actions for hours.
I gaze at them.
Never feeling bored.
I zone out as the zoologist shares fun facts with me. I already know what she's going to say.
Looking back, this moment is now the reason that I treat animals as if they were teachers, because they taught me how to meditate before I even learned how. So why do we all fall down?
Is what Georgia Smith said. I remember I was biking, Vokey helmet on the head.
And I felt super raw because I was cruising like a jet.
So one of these days, give it August or July.
Me and my dad decided to go out and ride.
Ream Park was empty, wasn't phasing me a ton. I was whipping
my
bike
like a Harley Davidson.
Like a Harley Davidson.
The sun kissed my eyes when it was brushing on the helmet.
Grass glittered from the rain. I like to call it green velvet.
But then my chest flew forward, face turned white like paper.
My body dribbled on the ground like a ball from the Lakers.
So why do we all fall
down?
Is what Georgia Smith said.
I looked down at my hands.
They were coated in red.
Body on the concrete.
Sun had me toasting like bread. And in that moment,
I really wished I was dead.
Tin lunchbox embossed with the body of Wonder Woman.
A detective notebook tucked inside.
The crime. Who put the empty milk carton back? Solved by a little girl writing in glitter ink.
The days when performative acts of justice
meant me in a tutu putting dolls in timeout.
And not police dragging mourners away.
From Sarah Evard's vigil in handcuffs.
I've always been drawn to shiny things. Costume jewelry and chunky rings.
Now keys stashed between my knuckles.
But what can a little girl expect to find
when she grows up in a world
that puts her hero on a hollow tin box?
When I was 6, my granddad gave me a crisp $20 bill and he took me to Target. I picked out
a clear pink box,
filled to the brim,
hair ties and butterfly clips, brightly colored plastic like Monopoly money.
Now, 10 years later, I look back on my younger self with non-biodegradable regret. $20 felt like nothing. Now 20 is 40, and 40 is 60, and a dollar is not just a dollar. New York Avenue, St. Charles Place, Boardwalk. A dollar is an opportunity. Now the pink box sits dusty, and I realize that money is better spent at 16 than 6.
I knew Monday I'd cover my cheeks in mud. We'd fight until the roots of our hair grew together and became one. My jumper stained green from the grass growing out of parking lot cracks. Still today, I would look pretty for her.
Or as much as I could,
I hit my fourth grade ugly phase and hid my missing teeth.
With matching jewelry, trying to make the best of my old leather shoes.
A daisy around for wild mushrooms in my backyard.
Letting the sun brush gold and rust into my braids.
At the thought of her, I starved my lungs with crisp roast into air. The spots on my arm grew milkweed for the caterpillars in their toes.
She might as well have held yellow carnations.
It pained me to remember that she was engaged to a boy via ring pop.
Let me be clear.
Cancel culture isn't just
A Twitter thing.
It's also a canceling the mundane out of your childhood memories kind of thing, because when the Mennonites have unblinking eyes and pitchforks instead of wooden scooters, it feels more justified to call crop tops a rebellion or
an evolved self-righteousness,
which is the same ego boost that comes from being good at memorizing Bible verses, and the moment after you gulp thrust,
Sunday school is fun, you should join.
And
my grandparents are Democrats.
But learning hymns on the piano feels like swallowing an open safety pin. What if I was old enough to know why all the preachers quit? For a group of people who canceled their own culture, the ex-Amish have almost as twisted a concept of redemption and accountability
as men,
philosophy majors,
and God himself.
We're quarantined in our room in nations, our regret, our daydreams, and resentment. What if I still had the receipt, and my grandpa hadn't gifted me with naivety?
What if I had found the right girl and understood the meaning of flowers?
What if God was a woman, and my ego wasn't raised Christian?
My neighbor called through the broken scrap metal fence inviting me in. Chin held high, my mini mind racing with wonder, I skipped into her garden world. Sun smiling down, I flew behind her. I was the missing fairy in her garden. When specks of fire warned us that the light would soon surrender, we hugged, saying, "See you tomorrow." But as the seasons passed, her joy gave way to winter. I tiptoed past her house, no longer welcomed. Years passed, and soon all I could remember was her scream, and screechy music she blasted at us while we played in the yard. But just last week, through the fog of flashing lights, I saw a flicker of those old bright flowers, a magic long forgotten. Thoughts of her lifeless body laying peacefully in that fairy garden flooded my mind. Sadness and relief overwhelmed me as I mourned the loss of those forgotten childhood memories.
When I was in second grade, I peaked. I had all the friends I could ask for, probably because all you had to do to get a friend was ask. Pokemon, Beyblades, and Diary of a Wimpy Kid was our straight A's and scholarships, was everything we stressed and obsessed over. Homework was as non-existent as my work ethic. No last-minute extensions, no complicated social situations, no sitting in the dark, wondering things could have gone differently. The suffocating smell of the Diet Coke my teacher drank, polluting our classroom like a sneeze on the L, seems almost comforting now. Whoever said you can't reach your dreams at a CPS school was wrong. Because back then, my dreams were reality.
My mother, bathing in Southern comfort. Her life dog-eared by a baptism that burned just good enough to get drunk off of. I ask her if she remembers pulling my loose teeth out. She says, no, I'd never do that. Says the blood would have been too much. Her breath in Texas was corn syrup Pepsi sweet. Its obesity was pungent enough to plug the holes punched into each popcorn wall. My mother, barely treading Southern comfort, returned to Chicago, planting her memories in some triangle scheme. I'm baffled. Is this the early onset offsetting everything, or just another trauma response?
Dear devout citizen, those rare moments when Harlem runs quiet of car exhaust, the wind still blows her gun-stilling Chicago breath, raking my hazel sheets back into a ponytail so I can recognize the McDonald's across the street. Feel the air bite my fingertips and the sun lick over the marks to soothe it. Inhale life and exhale memories. Taste the stories my friend walking beside tells me. Smell the shea butter cream wafting off her braids. Hum my mother's words in response to her dilemma. I march next to Harlem with a mask concealing my smile to be born again in this city. To accept that social distance is connection.
All right, give it up for the poets and Act 2. So much talent in this virtual space. So just a couple things, watch this space. We mentioned this last showcase, but the 20th anniversary anthology of our club is due out in February with an imprint of Penguin Workshop. We're also working on a website that will have videos on it, writing prompts, all sorts of follow-up stuff. And there are several members of the anthology in the audience here today, and some who are on stage as well. So it goes all the way back to original Spoken Word Club members like Dan Sullivan, all the way down to some juniors like Pira Saramaga, who's going to be up in the next act. And then Christian has something exciting to tell you about an EP.
Yeah, it's really quite an amazing project. So to raise the profile of the anthology, we're going to be launching an EP, I believe the first ever Hip Hop Wing collective EP, to celebrate those that are in the Hip Hop Wing. So for those that don't know, the Hip Hop Wing is a branch off of Spoken Word where lyricists can come and work on their craft and learn about the history of hip hop and how to conceptualize albums and such. And so we're going to be showcasing an array of rappers and singers that have graced Hip Hop Wing over the years, and myself and Def C, aka Adam Levin, are going to be co-producing this project. Most of it will probably be recorded in this studio that you see me in. So shout out Benjamin Carbank, who owns this studio. And if you notice as well, I want to give a special shout out to my partner, Rachel, who created the flyer for tonight. So when you clicked on that ticket link and saw that flyer, that was Rachel's doing. So thank you guys. Act 3.
Is he gone? Sorry, guys. I was talking to my mom. So yeah, in Act 3, we got Alan White, Pira Saramaga, R.C. Davis, Annabelle Govea, and Alani Espinoza. Y'all go crazy.
Third grade Spanish class. It's 2:40 p.m., just enough time to where the cape of questions that Senora comes around to ask. The title of this project is
Who are you?
So my mind narrows down to multiple words that could fit.
Who are you?
Are you black, white,
green, or red?
The deepest shade of navy or the brightest shade of blue? Are you walking down the street with a sign in your hand? Are you red or are you blue?
Periwinkle,
bubblegum,
snow,
all aligned in nice striped rows.
Who are you?
A pumpkin man running through a zoo-plagued America?
What are you?
A speaker rapping at my door yelling, please step out or you'll end up on the cold, dry floor.
Coughing, kind of wheezing, not really breathing, like the little asthmatic kid at the race leading. I am myself.
Yet I'm not aware of the person who stares with the question, who are you?
3 breaths carried me to the top of a mountain. One for the 5,000 feet above sea level, another for the mountain over the valley that went up in flames, and my last for every exhilarating twist and curve where my crown peeks itself open just a little bit more. I could feel the air get thinner with each breath. Tunnel vision lassos my curiosity. My friend 100 feet in the distance, and this becomes a sovereign hike, where all I can think about is summer. Birds flying overhead the same trail. I take their hums and make a painting with them. My friend calls me from the other side. M83 plays on my Spotify and I touch angels with a sunful glow. The trees below are blooming and still under a tangerine sky. And when we look at each other, I know we're both thinking, I wonder what it's like to tug the clouds.
My old Ben 10 forearms figure is still stuck underneath a park-turned-parking lot. George was the last one at our second grade sleepover, so he played Ben 10, even though we didn't have the right watches. We fought as hard as our imaginations would let us. Nobody won, because 7-year-olds are petty.
We say we have invisible fireproof suits when fighting fire.
Even with our imaginary stalemate, I was still sad when George had to go home. So sad that I left my toys on the grass and blamed him for their loss at school. So sad that this was our nicest fallout. We haven't talked in so long that we only remember each other's freshman selves. My memories of him transform into more imaginary stalemates that I try to bury underneath the parking lot tombstones.
The freezer pop juice flows down my chin in a lime green cascade. My shirt and shorts drenched from the super soaker resilience aimed with the precision of a belly filled by bomb pops and Slurpee shots. Faces of old friends, time locked away in a safe, the sudden combustion of a sparkler illuminating their grins. My favorite night of the summer. Our moms laugh and joke as they enjoy each other's company. Our sisters complain as we annoy them like a bee to a delicate flower. Oh, say, can you see as the rockets cry out in all of their red, white, and blue hue? I hold on to my present, never imagining it become my past. Safe from any Captain Hook or Tic-Tac croc. As my father carries me home on his shoulder, my R2-D2 sketches halt their blinking. I doze off to the sounds of the patriotic thunder. Drifting away from my blue sky dream, never to understand the feeling I once had, never again to return to my Neverland.
I lost my mom.
She was split from me before bike riding and bedtime stories could finish.
I wish we could still make tamales together. Feel the smooth corn husks slide between our fingers and the thick masa on my spoon. Age shielded me from what I couldn't understand, but it still tortures me that I can't remember her.
Our memories together
fizzled faster than the 4th of July sparklers she's missed. My pain is absent birthday parties and empty spoons.
For how many times I flipped through scrapbooks.
Buy me stories.
And stories can't piece together full pictures.
No Christmas lights in the Airbnb. On the 24th, we drove to Kroger and bought a plush flamingo in a Santa suit. No room for us in Mimi's assisted living apartment.
Consider for a second the importance of place.
In the house we stayed in, I felt like I was standing on one foot. Like every piece of furniture had been
rearranged.
That was the last Texas Christmas. When Mimi died, I kept
Still
imagining
living
her
in her old house, pouring coffee in her plaid
I leave her
nightgown.
here, falling asleep on the couch with her reading glasses folded in her hands.
For 9 years, my words whispered wisdom. Abby thought her blanket of shadows blacked her out of existence. Introvert was her way from getting hurt. Fear was public. She was her best friend. I pitied my sister so bad I cried tears of flames. I became the older sister.
Abby, you're pretty.
You got talent.
Vines of confidence choked barriers.
April
13th.
The flame of the candle swayed with relief.
She's 18 now, too big for her shadow blanket.
She blew out the candles, and with it my tears. May 11th. Our memories trapped me in a coma. I was a kid watching our movie over and over again. In the end, our room would be mine. I would be dancing solo with no rhythm to follow. In the end, I am your little sister.
Wella used to wake me up to the sound of mug and spoon. Her body arched in the windowsill, gossiping about our neighbors' relationships. She gave me 5 minutes to Easter egg hunt her room for dismembered dolls, scabbed ribbon novels, and glass gemstones. Her thrifted rug became my vase, filled with the stones we had no name for, just an unspoken rule: si lo sacas, ponlo pa atrás. Back then, Wella and I were one and the same, like the shore rocks hand in hand before the waves cough up their fate. Before she would sell the rug, move further from the city center and return our stones to the checkout line at the dollar store. Our memories meshed together in plastic as another one of my weekly impulse purchases.
Bring me back to the delirium, the outcome of thin air and not enough water. This mountain consisting of snow-covered gray and brown pebble peaks, slipping my mind away from earth. Quiet, but from my sister and I's breathless laughter, clutching our sides while my aunt talked of hugging trees. It's something she loves to do when up in the mountains. My aunt's wrinkles that scrunched and turned up as she watched my sister snake her arms around the moss-covered bark with a teethful smile. I tried to slip back into that moment, grasping for that tranquility, that love that seeped from my aunt's eyes. They both happened to be miles and miles away, on their own mountains now. I love you and how are you are said through the phone, no longer able to touch hands with love, tethering us all back to that mountain.
As my mother called out to the daughter she never wanted, books took me to a different world. Fresh spines that sang the story of their inside, stories that knew more about me than the hissed words between my mother's teeth. The yellow-toothed librarian asked me if she could help me. Yes? The elegant tales were drowned as I went back to the toxic words of my broken family that swallowed me whole. Harry Potter calling out, a magic world charmed, with butterbeer and honeydew's candy spilled across each sticky page. My childhood slipped between my fingers, infecting the pages, while mother chewed sweet mangoes in the car, pulling me back to reality. Tears soaked the illegible words, covered the invisibility cloak that consumed me, taking me with it. Books my escape and my enemy, sweet fudge turned to tangy gillyweed, bittersweet pages sang to me.
Sixth grade McKenna speed walking to language arts, exuding confidence in that blinding pink outfit.
Who's that? Who's that? Oh, that's McKenna, the Oreo. Her mouth never fixated to say ain't, finna, or y'all. Ghetto, or whitewashed, no in between.
SZA says, I wish I was a normal girl. Normal a replacement for what? Even though she praises them, subtle language, still having to stroke their little egos, white fragility. Seeming to use broken clocks, timing forever flawed. At noon, it's time for action, justice. At 20-something, they become a devil's advocate to Black lives. Then there's the love galore oppressors.
We're all just human, right?
Wishing we could all sing in harmony. Pretty little birds.
Wow. So that's the end of the showcase segment. You guys have been terrific in the chat. So hopefully these poets know how much you appreciate them, but you can add a little bit on right now before we explain the next segment. They were very impressive. I wish we could get you to unmute so you could clap for them, but you're going to have to use the chat in the interim. So we're going to go through a couple of traditions that we've continued into the virtual world. One is that of a senior solo. So basically, if you've been to live showcases, you'll know we average, I don't know, 60, 65 students per showcase. And if we did 60 or 65 individual poems, it would probably take 4 hours. So hence the group piece. But we want to honor the students. We wanted to honor the students who have been most dedicated, done the most showcases, with the opportunity to do a solo and to be feted by the sponsors. So this year we have 2 wonderful students who've been in every single showcase they could be in their high school career, Abby Govea and Kyla Perellis. And you're going to start by seeing videos celebrating them by Mr. Levin, Adam Levin, who was my co-sponsor prior to Mr. Robinson, and then from Mr. Robinson, and then myself, and then you'll get to hear the senior solo from Abby, followed by that process through Kyla Perellis. So get ready for a treat to get to hear these 2 amazing poets.
Abby Govea, first of all, so proud of you. So proud of you and who you've become as a performer and a leader in the club, and your own person separate from Jesus, who, you know, Jesus is talented or whatever, but, you know, he's a little goofy. And I think what I've come to learn about you, Abby, is even though you're very serious and a great leader, I think it comes from a place of compassion and care. And I've seen you grown a lot into yourself as a performer. I've seen you break out of your shell, which is awesome. And you're so self-assured. People look up to you, people count on you, and you've really made a great impact on Spoken Word Club as a human being, beyond just being a talented writer and performer. So I'm very, very proud of you, Abby. Congratulations on graduating, and go out there and do what we always knew you could do, which is outshine Jesus. I'm just joking. Congratulations.
Abby Govea. Cheers to one of the best older sisters and younger sisters I've ever met. Abby, you actually might be one of the most level-headed people I have ever met. And that includes the adults that I know in my life too. I think a lot of the adults in my life could take a page out of your book in terms of how to just keep it cool during really stressful situations. PK and I threw a lot at you. We threw rookies at you. We threw veterans at you. We threw people that we knew needed a little bit of a leader who had a clear mind, and that was always you. We could always depend on you to come through for us, and I hope that we did the same. I hope that it was reciprocated for you, and it's just been a joy to be able to get to know your family. Jesus is a good friend of mine at this point, and it's a joy being able to see how good of a sibling you are to them, and it's inspiring for me as an older sibling. I'm able to take notes from you to see how I should better be a support system for my younger siblings. So thank you for inspiring me, and again, I hope that I was able to inspire you in some way as well. And I look forward to seeing how you move outside of this high school space now that you'll be kind of more independent, and family won't necessarily be in the immediate vicinity. It's a big growing step, but it's one that I know that you're really prepared for. If anybody's prepared for it, Abby Govea is prepared for it. So I appreciate you, Abby. Thank you for the last 3 or 4 years or so that I've gotten to work with you. It's been an honor. It's been a pleasure. And I hope to get more students that are exactly like you. Peace.
Hey, Abby Govea, I cannot believe you're about to graduate from high school. I remember you as a very shy and quiet freshman. And then we found out about your family connection, and Jesus ensured that you started coming to meetings. I didn't know if you'd keep doing it after Jesus graduated, but of course, you stuck with it and have been in every single showcase and become a very important leader of our club, one of our best captains, one of our best writers. You're going to be in the 20th anniversary anthology. You're going to be going off to Middlebury. How crazy is that? So very excited for you. I know you're going to make your mark there and in the world. You are a role model in how kind you are, how you treat other people and your teammates, other people in the club. You obviously come from a fantastic family with Jesus and Annabelle, and it's been fun seeing you as the younger sister with Jesus and then the older sister with Annabelle, and how you operated with grace in each instance. So we will miss you greatly. We know you're going to be successful, and looking forward to when you come back to visit. Congratulations.
It's hard to craft a concoction of 4 rich years into one poem, to encapsulate the most beautiful moments of my teenage years into a page or two. Spoken word's prominent influence is infused into my pores and has extracted healing properties. Whenever my mind has felt foggy and stress has clogged my day, I could always rely on Room 375 remedies. Mr. Khan's organic snacks, Mr. Robinson's euphoric music, and random conversations that always end in self-awareness. Every moment of high school has been marinated in striking lines and garnished with clarity. Everything has fallen into place and is meant to be. A complete recipe I've spent 4 years prepping. Every Tuesday and Thursday I refuel fulfillment. The club serves 4-course meals, love, creativity, community, and comfort. It's a 5-star Michelin, a poetic delicacy. Spoken word gave me the ingredients to guide myself through life. Taught me how to say, I love you, without actually saying it. Simmered an epiphany that boiled up self-worth from the coldest source of doubt. I scrubbed away at the grease and can now see my own reflection. I gave myself a voice without having to speak. Learned how to be a leader so that I may captain my younger siblings with a pinch of patience and persistence. There must have been a reason I didn't talk when I was younger. I used to mime my way through days, a theatrical introversion. I was meant to write instead. From raising my hand for the first time in class, to performing in the Little Theater and the MLK Assembly, a crowd of 30, to an auditorium of 1,000. You can call me gluttonous, but I can't get enough of poetry. The taste buds of my imagination are addicted. I smell a poem in my mom's cooking,
see it in the veins of a leaf, touch it through the history of a rock. My brother, sister, and I are a bloodline of beautiful poets, discovered by my brother and found vital for all of our survival. No matter how many poems we may write, we will still have a lot to say, waiting for the world's wonders to inspire us, to come back to spoken word and share everything we haven't learned, but are hoping to discover through poetry.
So, Kyla Perellis, when I met you, I believe it was the 8th grade extracurricular open house in the field house, and you made a beeline for the spoken word table. And I asked you if you wanted to find out more about the club and write your name down, and you did not say a single word. You just nodded your head like this. And your mom was there. I remember that. And your mom was bragging about how good of a student you were and thought you wouldn't have time to do spoken word club or anything like that. And I'm so thankful that she let you join, because in addition to just being absolutely brilliant and one of the best writers in the history of the club, and I should know because I've been around for a long time, you're also just a kind, warm, thoughtful person. You have a great moral compass and sense of justice, and you are going to do amazing things, and the world is going to be better for it. So congratulations on graduating, baby Kyla, and I look forward to everything you're about to do next.
All right. So when I first got into the spoken word teaching assistant role, Kyla Perellis was known as Baby Kyla to the spoken word club. And it was fitting, you know. Kyla was small in stature, was new to the slam poetry scene, was very much a baby in poetry. And going through the years, Kyla has developed the character development. I mean, you couldn't have really written a better movie script for character development than what we've seen from Kyla. Kyla has grown into Captain Kyla over the course of 4 years or so. And it's just been an honor, Kyla, to see the growth and to see you go from somebody who was being mentored by everybody in the club, essentially, to then mentoring everybody in the club. It's just a stunning thing to be able to witness and to see somebody grow into a young woman who is an incredible poet and very commanding on stage, very commanding in the club itself. And now you've evolved into KP, the opposite of PK. But again, I think it's because people see this unique leadership in you. So I'm just excited to see where you go from here, how you continue to lead your peers and lead the adults around you as well. I appreciate you for being for just being so well put together for us. You have been a pillar in this club, and you've really been a sense of stability for PK and I. I appreciate you, and I'm here with you on this journey. Peace.
Hey, Kyla Perellis, I am so excited for you and what's going to be next at Grinnell and beyond, but very sad that you're going to be graduating and leaving us behind, though I know you will come back and you will always have a presence in the club. I think back to freshman year and you and Ms. Hildner's class, and how soon thereafter Mr. Levin had to convince your mom that yes, it would be okay for you to do spoken word and eventually slam team, that you'd be able to juggle things. And it's pretty hilarious how your mom became one of the biggest supporters in the club. You were the first person in the history of the club to be in all 12 showcases and not only a 4-time member of the slam team, but a 4-time soloist. That's never happened before. And if you think about all the people who are role models to you before you who didn't accomplish that, you know how huge of a big deal it is. So congratulations on that and winning the Ishma Stewart Memorial Scholarship Award. Even when you were baby Kyla, as Kara would call you freshman year, people looked up to you. Even the seniors on the team looked up to you. and you are the captain of the Spoken Word Club. And dare I say, you are probably the most important member we've ever had in the club. And there are others who would be up for that title who would look back and say, yep, Kyla is that person. And I love the fact that you and Abby Govea have teamed up in the club and outside of the club to do such remarkable work. So I'm very excited for you. I'm proud of you. I look forward to you coming back and visiting and helping out as alumni. And many, many congratulations.
The title of my senior solo is Contigo. Words in Spanish are ants. They carry 10 times their syllables. They huddle in colonies of thousands to keep the walls of their anthill from crashing down around them. They are workers, shuffling across picnics and kitchen countertops, their bodies bridges that extend into the audience. Ants are the kind of thing in nature you think you could have made up in a dream. And I'm pretty sure I was dreaming when I first walked into spoken word. And when I woke up, I was on stage, and my words were being carried across the backs of everyone in the room, the weight of them needing all the bodies to lift the sound to the mic. In this room, I use language that fits me better than my skin has in years. And what is an ant without their colony? When I'm helping Alani edit her poem, I joke that her water bottle says, Contigo. She does not falter in saying, para siempre. There are people who have nicknamed my name into retirement. When my Dave dares to leave a frown on my face, Rachel is ready to remedy the problem with a text. And who better to lead our brigade than Mr. Khan and Mr. Robinson? My poder comes from believing in others, the way they taught me to. This is why, when I say contigo, I mean para siempre.
Yep, you can see the chat going crazy for our two seniors who had their senior solos. One more time, y'all, for Abby and Kyla. That just put me in a space, PK. That just put me in a space, man.
For sure.
Wow, amazing. So look, I want to follow that up with some really great news. So usually this would be the time that we put out the donation link, or if we were in person, we would send around some tissue boxes to collect some quarters. But I have great news. We are not going to be asking for donations this time around because you all, the community, has put our club in such a great space that we just felt that it was appropriate to enjoy the show. And just thank y'all for coming through for the pay as you can format that we did. We were able to raise a lot of money through that. And, given the world, the pandemic that we are in right now, it's truly a blessing to be able to say that our club is in a good spot financially. And that is because of y'all. So thank you again from the bottom of my heart. This club means the world to me, and to get your support. And I know I'm speaking for PK as well. To get your support, we are endlessly grateful.
Yes, thank you so much. All right, so next there's a tradition that is a sad tradition, but an important one. So you'll see here a couple of pictures. That's Ishma Stewart. She was senselessly killed May 4th, 2008. And she was a spoken word club member. You'll see her, if you've seen the movie Louder Than a Bomb, you'll recognize Nova Venerable there when she was a freshman and Ishma was a junior. Ishma graduated an entire year early from Oak Park and then went on to graduate early from Loyola with a degree in journalism before she was killed. And for this year's competition and the $1,000 scholarship winner, it is yet again Kyla Perellis. So we're going to hear Kyla's winning poem and then a response to the poem from Ishma Stewart Torrey. So now more of Kyla Perellis.
This is my Ishma Stewart poem. A viral tweet said kids who drove minivans in high school are the backbone of society. If spoken word is driving a minivan, I'll always call shotgun. I might get relocated to the back seat to give someone with longer legs the room and control of the radio, but the point isn't which seat you're in. The point is to say, pick the wrappers off the floor before you leave, to roll down the windows so everyone can hear your first draft, to drive in circles so no one gets dropped off first. Even at capacity, spoken word pulls out an extra row, because we need everyone we can get to recite Nicholas Berry's solo. You'll be wishing DJ Cash Era could remix our vocals. We'll take wrong turns, but we'll end up watching seniors virtually from our living rooms. Spoken word is driving, and I'll gladly give $10 to pay for gas. I'll even wipe the snow off the windshield because spoken word is refurbished to harbor us for 4 years at a time. Somehow, by the end of it, you'll learn how to not let the windows fog when you recite elegies. The minivan has rolled to a stop. It's been 4 years, and it's time to get out.
Wow. Kyla Perellis. Okay, so we're coming to close. We're close to the end here of a wonderful evening. So we are very fortunate in getting to read some amazing poets who inspire us, some who I mentioned earlier on, and we get to bring in, we have so much support from the school that we're able to bring in poets to perform for us. So if you're with us last semester, you got to see Kristen Hill, and I forgot because the slides are going. So pause that thought. Before we get to that, we want to congratulate all of our graduating seniors who are on the stage tonight and to tell you where they'll be next year. So as I mentioned, Abby Govea is going to be going to Middlebury College.
Abby Mullen will be going to the University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign.
Alan White's going to be going to the University of Southern California. He turned down NYU.
Alyssa Waith will be going to SCAD, the Savannah College of Arts and Design.
Kyla Perellis is going to Grinnell University.
We've got Calais Clark going to Bradley University.
And then Juliana Sosa going to Knox College. We're definitely going to miss you and look forward to when you come back to help out. Don't forget about us, please. So as I was saying, and it leads into Juliana, we've got to work with some amazing poets, and we're really excited to have Tanaya Winder with us tonight. And Juliana, who was extremely inspired by Tanaya, is going to do a video introduction, and then we'll get a live performance from Tanaya.
Hello everyone and welcome to our showcase. My name is Juliana Sosa. I am a senior at OPRF and I have been a part of spoken word since my freshman year. It is my pleasure to introduce our special guest, Tanaya Winder. She is an enrolled member of the Duckwater Shoshone tribe and was raised on the Southern Ute Reservation in Colorado. She got her BA from Stanford in writing and her MFA in creative writing from the University of New Mexico. We are very grateful to have such a very talented writer, poet, motivational speaker, and educator in our presence. It was in the beginning of our writing process where we had to inspire new poets and re-inspire veteran poets with some really great poetry. We had to analyze certain pieces and pick them apart and gain inspiration from them. And one of those pieces was Tanaya's, entitled Becoming a Ghost. I believed that that poem itself is what got me out of my creative writing block. And I believe it inspired a lot of other students as well. It was then that I asked around and wondered if anyone was willing to share their poem on our Instagram page. I got a few poems collected and I posted them, and it was there that I actually found Tanaya's social media platform and added her onto our piece, and she was able to see the poems that we wrote. It's not very often that we get to show the authors that inspired us the work that stemmed from their creativity. So it's very grateful. I'm very grateful for social media and the platform it allows us to have, the connections it allows us to create. And without further ado, it is my pleasure to introduce Tanaya Winder.
Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction, and good evening, everybody. Wow, this was phenomenal, and I already had high expectations, but you exceeded them. You all are such amazing and talented poets, and it just warms my heart and soul. Like tonight, your words fed my soul. Y'all re-inspired me. And it's just so interesting, the power of words and the power of poetry, because I feel like that day when you tagged me on social media was when I was just, I feel like it never goes away, the doubt and the imposter syndrome. Like, what am I doing? Does my art make a difference? Does it need to? I write for myself, but I hope other people get inspired. And then seeing what you all created, it just really like fed my soul that day in a way that I needed to be nourished. And again, tonight you all have just uplifted my spirits. And so count me in as a lifelong supporter of you all and what you all do. It was just beautiful, the entire thing, just seeing all of the teachers and supporters that you all have, the love that you all have for each other, and just seeing all the family in the chat, like almost made me tear up, just the community that you all have. So I'm going to share the poem. It's called Becoming a Ghost, and it actually is after I had a writing hiatus myself, and this is the poem that brought me back as well. So it made me feel good to hear it did that for some of you all. So Becoming a Ghost. Ask me about the time my brother ran towards the sun. Arms outstretched, his shadow chased him from corner store to church where he offered himself in pieces. Ask me about the time my brother disappeared. At 16, tossed his heartstrings over telephone wire, dangling for all the res dogs to feed on. Bit by bit, the world took chunks of my brother's flesh. Ask me about the first time we drowned in history. 8 years old during communion, we ate the body of Christ with palms wide open, not expecting wine to be poured into our mouths. The bitterness buried itself in my tongue, and my brother never quite lost his thirst for blood or vanishing for more days than a shadow could hold. Ask me if I've ever had to use bottle caps as breadcrumbs to help my brother find his way back home. He never could tell the taste between a scar and its wounding, an angel or a demon. Ask me if I can still hear his exhaled prayers. I am still waiting to be found. To be found, tell me why there is nothing more holy than becoming a ghost. Thank you all.
Wow. Thank you, Tanaya, for being here with us and for being an inspiration to us. We really appreciate it. So we are about to close out the evening with something pretty historic. So Christian Robinson, our wonderful co-leader and dedicated educator and poet, also goes by Rich Robbins, where he is an extremely talented musical artist. And he has a new album that's about to be launched. He's going to tell you about it. And we have a world premiere video of one of his songs. So you get to catch him before he's too famous to do these type of events. And I'm really excited to be in the same space with him every day in the spoken word office. I've been so lucky over the years to have these amazing assistants and Christians, following in that tradition and breaking ground into new traditions. And here is another one, releasing a song at a spoken word showcase. So get excited for Christian Robinson, AKA Rich Robbins.
Hey everybody, thank you PK for that great intro. I'm gonna keep this really short. So to close out the show, we thought it would be a fun idea to just release or premiere this new video. So I will be releasing an album that just got announced publicly earlier this week called On the Horizon. I'll be releasing June 4th. So in a few weeks, and this is just a sneak peek of a video that's going to be coming. So please enjoy this single, Boys to Men. It's an interlude, the interlude from the album. And it also features a Chicago artist, Samira Truth, who you will hear featured at the very end of the tail end of the song. Just a little snippet of her part. All right, everybody, enjoy. The hills have eyes and the walls have ears, and the iPhone got your fingerprint. Gold drips from my fingertips. Government got my fingers bent. I took the knife out my back. Who stabbed you? Republicans and Democrats. Criminals with the badge. I see my face on the TV. Not a human, I'm black. Took everything I am. Come all, I got cash. But here's a twist to the story. My Aaliyah just crashed. I was so busy fighting against the power, Mona Lisa got cracked. The Y chromosome is killing everything in path. Think they get a pass, cause they read a book and they wrote a status. Good job.
I was fighting the power until I became the power that someone was fighting against.
The weight now, throwing it out, no it ain't sound. I hold the weight now, throwing it out, no it ain't sound. Baby boys, why you gotta be so insecure?
Give it up for Christian. So we are closing out the night. That was a great way to close. Thank you all for being here, for being so attentive and supportive of our wonderful students, and to our fantastic guest, Tanaya Winder, and our amazingly talented Christian Robinson, AKA Rich Robbins. Can Christian, Noel, Van, Patrick, and Tanaya say goodnight as well, please?
Good night.
Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Good night.
Peace, y'all. Much love.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah.